So, hello guys. So today, let me talk a little about meshing up Fuego and lava. So, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Jan-Simon Möller. Send me an email if you want some more info later about it. The slides are also uploaded. I do the releases and CI for AGL Automotive Grade Linux. If you haven't seen our demo in AW, take a quick look before you leave. Well, if you just have one target and develop on it, yeah, it's perfectly fine to have everything on your desk, yeah, easily accessible to you. The problem which I have then is because, well, mine looks more like this. Yeah. So the picture is from our colleagues, Free Electrons, and that's just one of the drawers. Yeah. Yeah. So you see, it starts to get a little messy. And if I've put all boards in one place, I'm not always there, right? So that's the motivation behind that. Yeah. And here, our guys from Linaro, they have, for example, here the I forgot the name. Panda board, right? Free. Yeah. Have here nice stacks of Panda boards that are hooked up to lava. Now, when we looked at the frameworks for AGL, we were looking at, well, what's out there in the distribution space? There exists Autotest. Yeah? There are things like OpenQA. Yeah, that's a little bit graphics, but we are embedded. So, yeah, so OpenQA is more about taking screenshots, and it can do all the desktop click stuff. So, probably not for us. Embedded boards. Yeah, we ended then up with, well, homebrew stuff. No. Okay, so we ended up with Lava. Lava does the board farm stuff very well. Yeah, my absolute favorite. We also use Fuego. That is because it comes out of the LTSI project. Companies in AGL use LTSI kernels, so we have that one also to play with. What we also see is we go from kind of non-distributed specific environment to distributed. Yeah, that's a clear trend. Okay, Lava, I will skip that. We talked about that. Just a few points, basically my observations, completely subjective. Very good to support board farms or multiple boards of the same type. Yeah, that's how it scales nicely. A lot of deployment mechanisms, even microcontrollers. The new slave worker setup is very slick. What I also found out, the initial setup is a little, it's a steep learning curve. Yeah, and I read the documentation, and okay, now what do I have to do? Yeah, you need to get into it a little, and we'll get to that. Yeah. Okay. So, in contrast, what is Fuego? So, Fuego evolved out of the JTA project. So, the LTSI guys set up this project, JTA, Jenkins Test Automation. So, it's a Jenkins involved. We basically have a full Jenkins at hand, and Fuego is basically a Jenkins pre-packaged with abstraction scripts and a battery of tests. And all of this inside a container. Now we can debate if the container is really the nicest thing. And on the one side it's nice, on the other side, if you give that to your IT department, they say, and now, yeah, we want to use Puppet, Ansible, and that doesn't really fit. We will see. Maybe we will change it a little bit to use, for example, Jenkins Job Builder underneath, and then you can just add it to your existing Jenkins. That might be a better option. Anyway, so we have quite a few. I don't know the total number, but I think it's like 45 already existing test runs with complete parsing, with complete result parsing. So that is kind of the big plus here. Yeah, we have a large number of already predefined tests with complete reporting. Companies like Fujitsu, they added kind of reports over I don't know how many iterations and yada, yada, yada. So it's very good at the reporting because you have a full Jenkins where you can do plugins and I don't know. The setup compared to Lava, which even runs completely on a Raspberry Pi, here you have a Jenkins and Java, so it's a little more heavy. And it evolved from a complete local lab setup. So it has no notion about, well, my board is now at home, yeah, and my Jenkins is over here. It accesses the boards usually over SSH when the board is up. It has no built-in way to deploy a file system, boot a board. Doesn't know anything about it. It just assumes the developer made the SD card and powered up the board and then goes to Jenkins and does. Okay, so I said there's like, nice, but I cannot use it, yeah, for our whatever code review automation. It's like I'm not going to press buttons here. Okay, so let's see what we can do. I want to distribute the tests, and I want to aggregate the results. Now, let's say none of both tools could do everything. So let's see what we can do. So distribute the tests. Another problem that we have is I don't want to hurt all the boards. Yeah. So for example, my colleague has board X, I have board Y. Let's have a setup where we can share those boards for testing. That works quite nicely. The new Lava has the so-called pipeline setup or V2 setup. And you can have a satellite lab, which is just a worker on a Raspberry, for example. And it connects to the master over an encrypted connection. Perfect. So I have my board at home. You have yours at home. We connect to the same master. And we can now test multiple boards. The only requirement is here power. Needs to be controlled through a relay board. There are nice hats for the Raspberry and whatever, or also nice relay boxes for network. That's perfectly fine. Serial. And what I usually do is an internal network just for the device under test, which means basically that's my external network. This is basically firewalled because I haven't set up any NAT. So it's completely decoupled. Yeah, actually, that could be a nice CT at home setup for testing. Yeah, you just need a Raspberry, a relay board, and a board to test it. Now, aggregate the results. That's now a little tricky. We get the individual results, basically, usually a thumb up, thumb down. But I want more. I want to know what happened. I want the full log file, so I need a way to aggregate them, store them. Yeah? And that's where kind of the Fuego part comes in place, because it's built to run the tests, fetch the results, post-process the whole thing. So that's where the strengths here are. So let's combine those two. It's completely fresh. I think I uploaded the code like 1.5 days ago, midnight. So it's on. It's not on GitHub. It's on Bitbucket. Bitbucket DL9PF. I should have put the link in anyway. Fuego had a nice target setup link. Target setup link. If that variable exists, execute it. Oh, perfect. Oh, by the way, there are a few places. So where to add lava now? Yeah. Fuego has the notion of a transport, SSH. Do I add it there? If we want to access the board, we bring it up. Yeah, but we have no way to do some flow control in that case. Yeah. When do we know that we don't need that SSH connection anymore and so on? So I was like, nice idea, would be completely transparent, but I have absolutely no knowledge how long a job runs. Okay, so target setup link is coupled with the job, so I know start, end. Okay, I still had to add target tear down link because that was never thought of, so I just added that. And then we submit a job to Lava to bring up the board. Therefore, I need a Lava job template. I created a settings file for just environment variables for Fuego, and then fill in the kernel I want and so on, and construct my job for Lava. It still uses SSH to connect to the board once it's up. So that's a little, yeah, I want to fix that. Actually, I want to go from Fuego to the board and don't need that SSH thing, because yeah, it still assumes that the board is in my local network. So right now I have whatever VPN in between. And in my proof of concept here, it's using a hacking session. A hacking session is basically a test which exposes OpenSSH and waits until I say I'm done. Yeah, but it's nice because from the outside you can go ahead and connect to the board. Okay, now let's see if that works. Let me take the mouse, that's faster. Oops. So that's Lava, where is the thing? Okay, let's see here. So that's our Fuego. I'm using already the next branch, so that's not the master, that's already next. Well, we have here such test plants. I use the Raspberry Pi as my test device under test, and ignore the Docker, that's just the test plan name. Anyway, so let's take a look at one of these. It's actually running right now, let's take a quick look. So we start up, and at some point over here, we go into the link setup. We submit the job. Well, and then there is one thing. Now I don't know when actually SSH is up. So I do a poor man's, hey, is SSH there? Yeah. So it would be nice if I get the, for example, Lava knows Lava knows when, for example, the login was sent. Yeah, I don't get that yet through Lava tool. Would be cool. Yeah, I think there is the isn't there? It's not job details. Wait for, there is some wait.
Yes.
But I think that's the plan, to expose that, right?
Yeah, Lava tool can wait for an event to be sent
Yeah.
that the job has started running.
Okay, but I have to send the event in my.
That's automatic. That is useful, that's actually just listening to the scheduler saying that job is now running.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do, without any changes on our side, is to, once SSHD is started on the test job, you could curl something to a box. You can do that yourself. Or
Yeah.
you can look at some,
Yeah. Well, here I'm basically in Jenkins, which has to do the flow control. Well, right now I just do netcat port 22 a couple of times and whatever. Yeah, it's a little bit poor man's polling, but it does the job. Yeah, and if that succeeds, fine. Board is up, and then Fuego takes over SSH. It does then its job, calls SSH a couple of times, runs the job, and so on. And in the end, yeah, I basically bring down the job. Yeah, at the moment I cancel. It's a little harsh. Yeah, so, and that is kind of a first poor man's implementation, how to connect these two. The plus side, I get remote board support. I get multiple boards of the same type. Fuego still couples the board with one executor. So it actually just knows I can execute one thing at a time. If I now have multiple boards within Lava, I can say I have 4 executors and execute 4 of those test instances at the same time. Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, to scale that because they all run for I don't know how many minutes. So that's a plus, and that also means it makes sense to attach that whole flow control to the job, because then you can say, okay, multiple executors, multiple boards in the let's say Lava is the orchestrator in that sense, and I can scale and gain speed here. Okay. So let's see. Quick how-to. So it's, yeah, here I have the link. Okay. So it's on Bitbucket. Downside of Lava, downside of Fuego, it's quite large because they ship the source tables for the tests in one thing, in their Git repo. Anyway, here you create the container. So there is Fuego and Fuego-core. Core is the actual engine, and that is just a container. So basically here you create the container, and so on. You create a board, a node in Jenkins, and this script basically creates the various jobs, plus the wrapper, which calls it, plus the batch job that calls it. I'm sitting on Next already, so on the newest stuff. It works meanwhile quite well, and I can run jobs quite reliably, even if I get other jobs in between. the question is, it would be better to not rely on the polling and the timeout. So that's something to really improve. The handling of the boards is then very solid. And basically with 2 scripts added, we are done. The downsides, let's see. So we had predefined timeouts in Fuego. A test runs 3 minutes. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, if I have to submit the job and then wait for the board to become free, yeah. So those hard-coded timeouts were just bogus. It was at the wrong place because it was at the overall job. So we need to make those more fine-grained, and I'm discussing with the Fuego guys how to do that. Another downside here is the job in Fuego starts with build the test, while it blocks the board in this setup. Yeah, so we grab the board just to start compiling, copy over the stuff, run it, retrieve the things, and then we also do the reporting before we close the board. Okay, that is not optimal. And we are looking how, okay, what is the minimal set? Yeah, the copy over, run, retrieve, and then we want to small down the time we use the boards actually. Yeah, what would be nice if we get some progress messages. That would allow me to skip the SSH polling and say, okay, the login was sent, the board is up. Yeah, that would simplify it to just a call to Lava tool and done. That might be nice. Yeah, I have to figure out a way how to overcome the SSH for Fuego. Not sure what to do right now yet, what pipe that should be. Yeah, so what needs to be done? Yeah, clean up. I'm sitting on top of Next. That branch needs to be cleaned up themselves. So there's some work to do. I hope we have something for, yeah, like in 2-3 weeks, or for ELC. Let's see. Until then, it might be interesting to still match up with the transport in Fuego, SSH serial. Also, as you have seen here, I do one job, bring it up, tear it down. Okay, yeah. It might be nice to say, okay, pool 5 jobs, yeah, which means bring it up, do 5 stuff, and then tear it down so some other job can take over. So that pooling might be nice. Yeah, for my use case, I need an alternative for the local SSH thing. Yeah, so we can get the full remote lab workflow done. Yeah, and try it. The individual projects, Lava, Fuego, or contribute to projects like kernel CI, highly recommended. I run a lab myself. What is important now with all those test frameworks, yeah, we should make sure that we use the same way to describe the test results, so we can actually share those. So again, at that point, we should not reinvent the wheel, yeah, and do the same test 3 times just because it's a different format. Yeah, and with some shared test results, we can do better, analytics in the end. Yeah, because we can only learn if we see what changes over time. Yep. Okay, questions?
Very quick.
Yep.
With your issue
Yeah, I did that. I have a timeout, and I check if port 22 comes up or not. It works, yes, but with the idea of the satellite workers, I don't want a VPN. I just want some way to. Fuego just needs two things. It needs the terminal, and it needs the way to how to get the test files over. And if I get that, if I get a different transport, basically, I'm happy. Yeah. But that's something to spend some cycles on, because, yeah, it needs to be secure. Yeah. All right. Thank you.